When I was ordained a priest, I received a congratulatory card from a fellow priest welcoming me to the priesthood. And then he wrote a piece of advice. He wrote, "Bob, do not build barns. There aren't enough warehouses in the world to store up all the good things God wants to give you anyway." And it's advice that I've carried with me through my priesthood, that it's not things that matter, but people. And happiness will not be found in the accumulation of possessions. Today in the gospel, Jesus tells us a parable of a rich man who had a bountiful harvest, and he isolated himself and was rather self-centered about it. He just thought about my barns, my harvest, my grains, myself. And he said he would tear down his barns and build bigger ones where he will stockpile his goods for many years. But God intervenes and says to him, "You fool, this very night your life will end. What will you do with all this stored up wealth?" So we're reminded today to store up our treasures in heaven. When we die, we know that we leave behind all our material possessions and take with us only the good we've done and the love that we've shared. We should all be building up treasures in heaven. There's a folk songwriter, Greg Brown, who writes about down-to-earth stories. And one song he wrote from the first person, he entitled it "The Cheapest Kind." And in the song, he talks about his own family that was very poor. And growing up reluctantly because of their poverty, his parents always had to buy the cheapest kind of clothing, the cheapest kind of food. But he said the love in our family was not cheap. It was what made our family rich. And so today, Jesus in the gospel invites us to ponder on what are the true riches in human life, and how do we truly store up riches in heaven. We know that the true riches in heaven is investing into relationships, into our families, into our marriages, into our vocations, into our friendships. It's sharing what God has given to us with others generously, especially those who come to us in need. These are the things that bring us true happiness. This is the way to store up riches in heaven. So today, on this Sunday, we can all examine our hearts and ask, have we focused on material goods, treasures that will not last, and that ultimately leave us disappointed or unhappy? Or have you allowed God to fill your heart with His love, with the treasure of His love, with a wealth that is of the richest kind? So, don't build barns. There aren't enough warehouses in the world to store up all the good things and blessings that God wants to give us anyway.